Hi everyone, this is Natalie, and this is my Module 1 discussion board initial post. I found the readings this week to be quite insightful, as I had never really given much thought to, or much conscious thought to social justice. So I don't really feel like I had formulated a definition or a working definition of social justice before this reading. I really came into this class pretty much as a blank slate and with an open mind. And so, uh, my formal definition of social justice was formed after the readings. And I found that the readings were very dense this week for me, especially not having any type of background in social justice or kind of a working knowledge of what social justice actually consisted of. So I really felt like a sponge, like I was soaking it all in this week. They were very informative. The videos were very helpful to me. I actually started out with the readings, and felt kind of like I was floundering a little bit with the readings, because there were so many concepts that were introduced in that first section of the text. But the videos really helped to break it down in a practical way where I could apply the information. Um, there were sections in the readings that I really did enjoy and was enlightened by, and one of those sections was the concept of being socialized, that we're socialized to accept systems of oppression as normal. And so the author points out that we accept these systems of oppression as normal until we're able to interrupt the narrative or the cycle and question the so-called truth of what we've learned about power relationships among the different social groups. So I do think that this happens either subconsciously or consciously at one point or another in everyone's life. I think that we come to kind of like a crossroads and we make a decision when we're faced with situations with different social groups. If we accept what we have learned and what we've been taught through our past or our experiences, our culture, um, or if we go against the grain and we question that, we call it to question, and why do I believe that? So I do think that that happens for everyone at some point in their lives. So I thought that was a very interesting concept. And then I also enjoyed the part about where the author spoke about the members of the oppressed group are more aware um, of the oppression because of the daily effects that it has on their lives. And then the other group will be considered the privileged group and have privileged status, and they're very unaware. And oftentimes they think that it is the oppressed, it's their fault. And so they don't have any sort of blame or ownership on maybe putting the oppression on the oppressed. And so that's the privileged group. So I enjoyed that, and the notion of being disadvantaged by association. So not really being the directly in the group, but maybe being a family member or just someone associated with that group. And then the five faces of oppression. So those were some things that I really pulled out from the reading that I enjoyed. And so after completing the activity, I found that the two identity groups that I um, was most affected by or identified with was the socioeconomic status and education. Those are two very important aspects of that make up who I am, or that's what I consider. And so I identify as middle class as far as socioeconomic status, and the other groups that I chose would be members that live in poverty, or there's also members that live in that are considered upper class. So those are two different groups. And then, as far as education, of course, I have my master's degree, currently pursuing my doctorate. And the two other groups that I identified were the high school graduates, or actually the high school dropouts. So those would be on the other end of the spectrum from myself. For my social justice project, I'm choosing to look at socioeconomic status. So I'm going to actually be involved with a, a group called Circles of Hope that operates out of Columbus County, and they work with people and families who live at or below the poverty line. And so I feel like this is going to be a very empowering, very insightful experience for me. And I really think that I'll learn a lot. And I'm really excited to kind of visit or step outside of my box and see how these people live, and what their experiences are, their unique experiences. And hopefully it will serve as a true, meaningful, valuable learning experience for me. But I look forward to viewing all of your videos. Thanks.